What's up? I see Walter. What's going on? Hey, Ava. Greg Wright. What's going on? Ryan S. What's happening? Phil. Good to see you. Everybody. What's up, Kathy? Hey, guys. Sorry we're starting a couple minutes late. Sometimes technology is amazing, and when it doesn't work perfectly, it's a little bit delayed. So some of you are just coming into the Zoom room right now. Appreciate you being here for our monthly live Inner Circle. There we go. We just got about 1,000 people jumped in immediately. Hey, everybody, good to see you. Some of you driving, make sure you're careful if you're driving. Some of you are in cool places and cool backgrounds. Everybody, welcome to our Inner Circle. You know what's cool? I've been doing Inner Circles live every month. I think this year is a decade. And what's cool is some of you have been with us for a decade, so it's so good to see familiar faces. And this is a fun group. If this is your first one, or if you're new to our family, maybe it's your second Inner Circle, I want to say this is a part of your mastermind membership, which is amazing. This used to be $97 a month just for this, and I love it. And here's the cool part, in case you don't know. Why I did Inner Circles about a decade ago, we said momentum is crucial. Staying connected, staying a part of a family, right? So many times in life, our current influences around us question us, our inner self-doubt, all those things. But when you're a part of a group that cheers you on, a group that meets together on a monthly basis, so we can talk about mindset, we can talk about marketing, we can talk about momentum, and I could share some of the biggest breakthroughs, then it allows us to stay connected. So today I have a great topic I'm really excited to share about, because I always do this around June, July of every year. So I can't wait to talk about that, on how we can build another level of momentum for the second half of the year. But I also want to remind you that you have a library of years of these Inner Circles. And at any time you want to go back, you can find a topic that you might be going through. Heck, I did a couple great ones I think we've done 3 of these with Matthew McConaughey. And it was so cool. One was on journaling, one was on momentum, one was on being selfish for a little while so you could be selfless for the rest of your life. That's just 3. So I just wanted to remind you that you have access, by being a mastermind member, you have access to an incredible library. You know, sometimes we get sucked into Netflix or just surfing online. You know, we get sucked into news that can drive us absolutely insane. And we also have access to capabilities and skills that can empower us, make us feel better. So listen, Mastermind is the thing that Tony and I wish we had. That's why we built it, and you have access to it. And you, of course, have a new course that comes out every single month, and a library of courses from really amazing people. So make sure you're checking into that. You know, I always wish we could build a library of the skills and strategies and techniques from amazing people that you could always have at your fingertips, and that's what Mastermind is. That's how it started, and now it's evolved that you have Gigi, who's growing and learning every day. You can't imagine the amount of people who are using it and growing. Who's using Gigi? Raise your hand or put it in the chat, right? Put a sticky on your computer to remind yourself to use Gigi every day. I had somebody say the other day, not only did I create my solution statement, lay out my 6 points, get my website up, she also gave me a great recipe for my friends coming over. So don't hesitate I appreciate all the great comments coming in. Don't hesitate to use Gigi for way more. We had someone write in 2 days ago that Gigi helped them write a letter to their staff, and their team is on fire. Someone else wrote in and said, I needed to convince my husband why this was so important to me, and Gigi helped craft that letter that I ended up texting to my husband. So don't be afraid to utilize it for so many other things. And then, of course, you have the tool to implement. And sometimes that might seem like the scariest part, but I'm just going to encourage you, please don't. Anything you do in life that's worth doing is going to take new skills, taking uncomfortable action, right? Isn't that true? There's no easy money. There's no easy success. We made it as easy as possible. So I'd say when it comes to the tools, if you have any questions, hit us up. Ask someone else in the group, but don't just avoid it, because there is so much growth, so much opportunity. And, well, it's great to have you here. If you'll notice today, and you'll notice every month, especially if you're new with our Inner Circles, I feel like it's family. I'm gonna be casual. I want to feel like we're just sitting down at a coffee shop and sharing the things that I believe could help you go faster. So do I have permission today? I'm just going to be chilled, relaxed, have some fun. Again, good to see you all. So today, I looked back and I haven't done this training in half, maybe 2 years. And what it is I do it personally, is halfway through the year, which we're a little bit past halfway through the year, I like to reflect. I like to take an observation. I want to make sure that we're going to finish this year strong, that we still have time to make this a breakout year. Because sometimes we get fired up with a New Year's resolution. Sometimes we have something that's burning. You guys came to the Game Has Changed, a live event, and you get fired up. Maybe you were at a Tony event and you get this energy, and then we don't even know when our life slowly creeps back in. Anybody ever do that? Anybody ever start like a diet or a new plan in the morning, or a new, I'm gonna focus on gratitude in the morning. I'm gonna meditate in the morning. I'm gonna work out in the morning. And you're doing it and you don't know the time that you stopped. And you're like, wow, when did I stop meditating? When did I stop focusing on gratitude? When did I stop jumping into mastermind and going through the course? When did I stop? And you don't even know what happens, and you fall back. Anybody guilty, or is it just me? Right? So I like to make this halfway mark through the year a time you draw a line in the sand, that we still get to make this year, 2024, freaking legendary. The year that we look back to 4, 5, 6 years from now and go, that was the year everything shifted. So that's what I wanted to do today. That's the training I'm up to. Who's ready to have a little fun here today and reflect? Okay, so as we move forward, listen, let's just say it like it is, especially if you live here in the States. Things are a little crazy. Wouldn't we agree? I mean, you couldn't make this up. Okay, Tony and I were texting all night last night. If you asked somebody to write a story, to write a movie, could they write a movie as crazy as what's going on here in the States? Between the candidates and assassination attempts, and I mean, it doesn't matter what political background you are or you choose. Can we all admit it's freaking insanity? Like, it's crazy. It feels like we're living in a movie. And then the president says he's not going to run. Like, it's wow. And sometimes that can be distracting. Sometimes that can suck you in. Sometimes without realizing, it is stripping your momentum. It is taking away your ability to move forward, because I don't believe it's a 100% game. If we are 80% into something, does it work? Anybody ever been in an 80% relationship? How does that work when you're 80% committed? Right? How does an 80% diet work? How about an 80% commitment at the gym? It just doesn't work. And your next level of income, impact, doing your own thing, doing something you've never done before in some cases that takes a little extra energy. If you're just 80% in, it's not going to work. Now, when I say you got to be all in, it doesn't mean all day, every day, 24 hours a day. But when you're in it, you got to be committed to taking the uncomfortable actions, scheduled time, or else it just drifts away, right? So I thought, with all the craziness going on in the world, why not take the time, dial it back in, and let's get ready to build momentum and crush this year. You guys ready to crush this year? Because I am. And I'm ready to do it with you. So I was going through and I'm looking at my old notes that I went through. I literally found my training from a year ago or 2 years ago, and I got my journal that I looked through, and I have notes that I wanted to add to it and move forward. But we're going to pause a little bit and take stock of where we are and where we're going. So this is how I laid it out. Doesn't mean it's in any particular order. It's just the things that I do personally, and I want to share it with you. First one, let's start with what's gone right so far in the last 6 months. So let's just, instead of taking your whole life, things change, right? Things change fast. Some of you came to the Game Has Changed event and had no idea you'd be here with me today thinking about creating a knowledge product. Is that true? Raise your hand if that's true, right? You never know where the world's going to go. So let's take the last 6 months. And I'll go as slow as you want, as fast as you want. You can put it in the chat, because I get to see all your chat. It's how we communicate. I get to see your faces. You can put it in your journal. But what are some of the things, some of the thinking, If someone wants to write this in the chat on my team, you can. What's some of the thinking, some of the decisions, or some of the actions that you took that went right so far since the beginning of the year? What have you accomplished? You know, sometimes we don't pat ourselves on the back. You got to understand, our brains, it's so easy to focus on what we haven't done yet. Isn't that true? We're tougher on ourselves than anybody else. You haven't done. But sometimes you got to take a moment and say, what have I done? Heck, you're here. You're a part of this family. Some of you are working with Gigi. You're optimizing, you're extracting the asset in your brain. You told somebody and they're like, oh my God, that's amazing. Because how I look at it is what has been going right that has given you glimpses, has given you a glimpse of where the future can be, and how can you drag that forward, right? How can you bring that forward, and then how do we optimize it? So what I'm really looking for here, and these are the things that I do, thank you, Raquel and Irene. What are some of the things you've done? And then go, wow, that did work. When I work with Gigi on a regular basis, that works. When I start sharing information on social, that worked. When I start telling friends this is what I'm doing, they were intrigued. And then if we can recognize what worked, how do we compound it? How do we optimize it? How do we do more thinking like that? What are some of the things we can do to energize that activity, to speed up that activity, to add rocket fuel to that activity? And then if we recognize those pieces, and amazing things you guys are putting in the chat, is who can help us make it even better? Is it this group? Is it inside the Facebook group? Is it a friend or a family member who could take something off your plate? So I like to take accountability or almost an audit of what's working. I'm looking, journaling is helping a lot. I love it. Then make sure, Lloyd, that journaling stays a part of your life. Taking off time to work on this, it's working. Scheduling the time. Humor, laughter is great medicine for me, right? Switch from coffee to jasmine green tea and feel more clarity in my mind. So good that these are the things that you can look at. Right? I have a new mindset, right? Watching these podcasts, Charles, amazing. Making time for this and trainings like this. Getting up at 4 a.m., that's one of my, I was a 5 o'clocker, Malenko, I hope I said that right. I was a 5 o'clock guy forever, and then I switched to 4. God, I love it. I'm a little tired of getting used to it, but I love that extra hour. I know that sounds crazy, but there's little adjustments. The small hinges swing a big door. So it's fun just to, I know this might seem light, like, hey, are we really moving? Yes, because sometimes we do things that work for us and we don't recognize them. We don't write them down, and then we let them slide away. Is that true? Right? We all do it. We all do it. So taking time to review what you've accomplished is so important. Even a little pat on the back is not a bad thing. And it allows us to look for new ways of thinking, new actions that we can take more of, and decide on the decisions that have moved us forward. Does that make sense? Now, remember, here's the cool part. You guys get the recording of this. It'll be in your back office. So if I'm going a little quick and you want to come back and say, let me really think, let me really dial it in, you surely can. Okay, so obviously, if we're going to write down what went right, then the next thing we ought to do is the complete opposite of that. What didn't work in the last 6 months? Or what went wrong? I say that because there is some thinking that keeps you stuck. Is that true? There's some decisions that didn't work out. Maybe decisions that ask for permission or try to sell a family member so they'd get on board with you when you knew in the first place they weren't gonna. You're trying to get someone else to see through your lenses, like Trent Shelton says. You just want them to see what you see, right, Phyllis? You want them to see it, you want them to feel it, and when they're not, every time you try, it's deflating. Right? When I say what went wrong, it doesn't just mean the video you did that people didn't buy from. That's a good one too. But if we identify what went wrong or what didn't work, we can realize that that is our foundation for success as much as the wins, isn't it? Winston Churchill's #1 quote, the definition of success is going from failure to failure without losing your enthusiasm. What does that really mean? I had that on my desk for years. You like that, Phil? Right? I like that too, right? Is it what it really means is you fail enough, you figure out what the heck not to do. And if you don't lose your motivation, then you can learn from each one of those. So here's a couple things I jotted down that I wanted to share about what didn't work and what went wrong. First, and I know this is only for about 60% of you. First, you got to forgive yourself. You got to let it go. Some of you procrastinated in the first 6 months of the year. Who gives a crap? Maybe that's why you're here today. You might have went down the wrong path, right? Some of you tried and let it slip away. Some of you are dabbling a little. Someone else let someone get in your head and you didn't move forward because you were letting them steer your ship. Some of you tried certain things and it didn't work out. Isn't that life? Heck, I went through a divorce. I'm not an advocate of divorce. I never thought that would happen in my life, but I have. But I learned a lot from it. I became a better man because of it, right? So we can let those failures be our anchors, or we can let that be the breeding grounds of what you really need to do or what not to do. I have another one for you. What do you need to stop doing today? You know, something went wrong, or something's not working right, but some reason we continue to do it. You know, and it could be as simple like what went wrong? I got sucked into the media and I'm spending 2 hours a day watching the news. Shit, how did that happen? Never used to do that. It's okay, forgive yourself. But today's the day you stop it. You see, I love living by this philosophy that I learned a long time ago is there is just not enough time to do all the things in life that we put on our plate. So I like to live in the area of no gray areas. There are things obvious you need to stop. If you're surfing for 2 hours online, if you're hanging out with negative friends that make you feel bad about yourself every time you're with them, there is some obvious things. Is that true? Some obvious things like, gotta say no. Doesn't serve me, doesn't serve my kids, doesn't serve my family, my spouse, I gotta say no. And then there's things you know. Hey, if I go to an inner circle, if I get inside the mastermind business system, if I start studying, if I use Gigi, you know that's moving forward towards who you want to be. True? Aren't they obvious? What I'm going to encourage you to do is look for the gray. You know, it's kind of the thing you've been doing. So I love gray. To me means it's either black or white. This is moving me towards the woman or the man I'm meant to be, I desire to be. Or this is not moving me towards the man or the woman I desire to be. If you put it through that hardcore lens, the fact of the matter is time will open up, but you'll also stop doing things that don't serve who you want to become. Listen, if you're at an inner circle with me in the middle of an afternoon on a Wednesday, you know you are meant for more. True? Or you're watching the replay. True, you know you're meant for more. That's the one thing we absolutely have in common. Some of you are crushing it already. Some of you are on your way. Some of you are scared you're starting on day one, but you know there's something else. All I can say is there is not enough time in a day to do all of it. So some stuff's got to go. So what went wrong? What didn't work? You know, maybe some of the subtle things that's eating up your time that's in the gray. So I would say, give yourself a little audit this week as you're doing something that goes, is this black, white, or gray? Right? For me, there are some things I will never change. I will never stop time with my children, time with my wife, there's certain things I can never say no to. But darn, there are definitely things in the gray that when I think about it, say, hey, that served the old version of me. Those friends serve the old version of me. The drinking to numb the pain served the old version of me. That ain't the woman I want to be anymore. That's not the man I'm becoming. So I got to say that's gray. Bullshit on gray. I'm saying no. Here's another way to look at some of the stuff that goes wrong. And I'm sorry I'm spending a little more time on the failure part, 'cause sometimes that trips us up. I tried that, but it didn't work. But what if it was designed, whatever didn't work or went wrong? What if it was designed and there was actually a lesson you were supposed to learn from it? Holly, I see you shaking your head, right? It's like, what if it was actually, and this is Tony Robbins 101, what if life happens for me, not to me? Then you start looking at all the stuff that didn't work out. It's like, how did I miss the lesson that was right there in front of me? I was trying to be someone else when I did that video. I didn't trust the woman or the man I was, so I was trying to be somebody else. No wonder it came across phony, right? What are the lessons in there? You know, I was saying I was doing the work, but I wasn't really. Right? I said I was trying. I have a dear friend. I love this man for 20 years. Love this guy. And he always says to me, got to lose this 20 pounds, Dean. You're in such good shape. He's a little bit older than me. He's like, I got to lose this 20 pounds. And every time I'm with him, the guy is eating incredible salads with salmon. And he's a bit overweight. So last time we were together, he said it again. I'm like, I've known you for 15 years. You got to be BSing me somehow. You keep telling me you're going to do it. You eat perfect in front of me, but you still got the weight that you want to lose. I think you look amazing. He's like, yeah. At night when I stress, I eat salad. I eat cereal, ice cream. I eat from 10 o'clock to midnight. I eat like a maniac. And I was like, well, what lesson can you learn from this? You might learn, hey, maybe cereal and ice cream from 10 to 12 is your only thing. You love it and you like the weight you're at and you'll deal with the health consequences if you want. Learn that lesson and own it. So instead of saying I'm losing the weight, say I love my weight, I love who I am. Or you got to learn a lesson and not be super simple, but you got to adjust or quit. Like it doesn't have to be, it's not gray, right? Just adjust or quit or accept, right? And I'm not trying to oversimplify this, but these are the subtle things, the little things that are the big things. And, you know, I used this analogy once, and I am taking a little extra time on what went wrong because so many times our feedback from you guys is, I tried this, it didn't work. My husband said it wouldn't. And it's like, wow, you tried once and you got discouraged. I want you to know this is all part of the journey. I have failed. Tony has failed. All of us have failed. All the successful people you see in the Facebook group, I see you, Joan. We have all failed many, many, many more times than we've succeeded. But I want to tell you, business is like baseball. If you hit 3 out of 10, when you're at bat, if you hit 3 times out of 10, you are an all-star, right? It's the same in business. It's the same in life. Sometimes we got to get in the game and start. It only takes a couple hits out of 10 to win. So I shared this one time. I'm going to share this. I'm going to move on to the next one. I don't want to eat up all the time here on what went wrong because there's other good stuff too. But I had this analogy. Imagine if you took the last 6 months and you wrote down all the things that went wrong, all the things that you were wasting time, all the things that might have failed, the relationships, the mindset because someone got in your head. You could do this over a 10-year period, but let's just say it's 6 months. I like to look at it as if you had a building and there were shelves all around the building. And your last 6 months of all your big experiences were on the shelves. And all of a sudden, someone handed you a suitcase and lit the building on fire. And you had like 6 minutes to just grab the experiences that you want to put in the suitcase and let the rest of it burn down, to disintegrate it, ashes, gone. You get to choose what experiences you take forward with you. You get to look at something like that was an utter failure or damn proud of myself for trying. What can I learn from it? Right? We get to choose that. I'm not trying to, be too foo-foo here, but we do get to choose. And we can take those experiences, like I said, what went right, and put it in the bucket and say, ooh, that was a failure, but I learned a lot. Let me take that and let the rest burn down. And we could literally put a line in the sand and start fresh today to crush the rest of this year. True? We get to make that decision. No one else. Okay, so what went right? How do we compound it? How do we use more of it? How do we recognize it? How do we see it? How do we acknowledge it? How do we do more of it, empower it, energize it? What went wrong? What can we learn from it? What can we change? What can we throw away? What can we forgive ourselves and go, man, that was messed up. Never doing that again. I'm going to do it in a new way, right? Now, this one's really simple. What would you like to accomplish in this second part of the year? Now, again, I'm going to say another quote from my brother, Tony Robbins. we all overestimate what we can do in a year and underestimate what we can do in 5. Isn't that true? Casey, I see you shaking your head. How quick has the last 5 years gone by? Does anybody even remember when COVID was? Like, it's like a dream. Like, was COVID like 47 years ago or 18 months ago? I'm really not sure, right? And how long did it last? Like, were we in our homes for 3 months or 18 months? Like, I don't know. Does anybody else feel that way, or is it just me? It was just like the weirdest time in history. So 5 years goes by so fast, and the next 5 is gonna go by even quicker. So if it's gonna go by, and we're gonna be here, we might as well make progress and live into who we're supposed to be, not settling to be, right? So I'd love to say, hey, what is realistic if you and I, if all of us, and we'll probably do a New Year's, as an Inner Circle member, we'll do something special on New Year's, either the day of, day before, a couple days after. We'll do a special Inner Circle, and we'll kick off the year together. You guys up for that? I usually do like a 3-hour special on these, so I'll make sure you guys are invited. We'll do it the first week of January, kick off in a big way. But let's do this. Let's pretend it is January 1, 2025. And you are on fire because these last 6 months, you just freaking crushed it. You lit it up. You feel better, you look better. People are looking at you like, what's up with Jenny? She just can't stop smiling. You look like the cat that ate the canary. Like, what would have to happen, and maybe you could put it in the chat, what would have to happen for these next 6 months for you to consider game changer, shift in life, line in sand, start of something new, right? Begin my online course. Right? Put in the chat, sell my course. People are already saying I look better. 10 paying clients. Mastermind is done. Course completed. I've started uploading, right? Turn my book into a movie. I freaking love it. Publish my new book, Be a Better Me. $10 million. Launching my course. Publish my book. Finally get my course out there. Office, 10x clients. Now, I would say, as you do this, and keep writing it in the chat for everybody to see, right? Is it money? Is it a course? Is it your coaching program? Is it you spoke on stage? Heck, do you speak on stage with Tony and I at our February event or whatever it is? What kind of impact are you making? What kind of, no more fear. The fear is gone. What kind of freedom do you have? Are you in control of your calendar? And then you can equate that. I love Marion's steady income of $15,000 a month. Man, that is a target. Right? And you could define that. So I love setting realistic goals now because we're starting fresh. Let's just pretend this is our new year. It's our July New Year, right? Now, I'm not going to go too long on it. You can set what it is that you want to do. But as you look at it, Charles and Joan and Kevin and Bob, what do you need to adjust a little? Maybe you got bigger dreams now than you did 6 months ago before you came to the game has changed. Maybe you realize now, I want to work from home, impacting lives, making X amount of money. You got to adjust. What do you got to study? All those types of things, right? So what do you want to accomplish? If it was the end of the year, it's January 1, we're all together, and you go, damn, the last 6 months was fire. Think through that lens. Cool? Next is mindset. And again, I didn't do these in any particular order, but I live inside the Facebook group, probably more than I should, but I love seeing your comments. So please, the more you're in there, the better, because I get to live and breathe. Isn't it amazing? Are you watching the success and the progress that's happening in there? And simultaneously, I do see folks that, and I'm not calling anyone out here, who are a little bit stuck. Like, I've never done this before, so you're kind of resistant. So I'm going to do everything in my power on our monthly trainings, on our Monday lives, to get you to take uncomfortable action, to be disturbed with your own inaction, right? So a couple things I wrote down here that I want to make sure I get to. When I was in my 20s, this is an absolute fact. If someone said, what does it take to be successful? And they gave me a chart of the right mindset or the right vehicle, I'd say 99% the right vehicle, right? I'm a hustler. I'll get it done. I don't need that foo-foo mindset, focus on solution stuff. Just give me the thing and I'll go. That was in my 20s. And now at 55 years old, I know it to be true that it's 90 to 95% mindset. You create an unstoppable mindset that has resilience and dedication and commitment and resourcefulness. You find somebody like that who has that mindset and give them any opportunity and they'll make it work. Do we agree on that? Have we seen that happen? I would rather give a C opportunity to an A player than an A opportunity to a C player. I see it. I've hired thousands of people in my life, right? So I would bet to say at this phase of our lives, it's 90% mindset. Think about it. If you're really honest with yourself, who in here has been tripped up, fall back to old habits, or quit, not because you didn't have the skills, not because you didn't have the education, because you gave up in here because of imposter syndrome, fear, weren't sure if you had time, right? All the little things that add up that you slowly fade away, right? We're all guilty. Thank you for Amanda saying that. We're all guilty of that. So maybe, and we could look through a lot of different lenses, but maybe we can look through the lens of a fixed mindset, which is, I don't know if I can do this, or maybe I can't do this, or a growth mindset. Maybe I wasn't able to do it yet, but I can now, right? So many people say, I tried, didn't work. Well, maybe it wasn't your time. It wasn't yet. I love adding that word. I've tried before, yeah, but it wasn't your time yet. Maybe it's your time now. Like I said, you see some people powering through and some people getting stuck. So I'd say if we can adapt a few things like resourcefulness, right? Some of you, if you're really honest, raise your hand if technology freaks you out a little bit, right? I'm going to raise my hand. I said before, I'm 55. I didn't grow up with computers. They weren't in high school. If anybody's around my age, they were just starting with DOS, DOS, the green. You type something and maybe have Santa Claus go across the stage, across the screen looking like this. I see you, Daniel, right? That was about the extent of computers when I was in high school, right? I still, when I get a new iPhone, I still keep my old one for like 6 months because I feel like stuff's going to get lost or my pictures will go away, even though I know they're in the cloud. I put them on my new computer. Technology freaks me out. But I also know that if I want to evolve, if I want to grow, I must take uncomfortable action in areas in which that will propel me forward. So with a growth mindset, you might go, hey, I laid out my course. Hey, I can do this. Hey, I can do this. Oh, it's time to build it. Oh, I've never done this before. I don't know what link. All right, I'll do it tomorrow. And tomorrow becomes a week, and a week becomes a month, and then all of a sudden 6 months or a year from now, you're online looking for another opportunity, which you're still going to have to learn new stuff. Isn't that true? Right? So what I'm going to share with you is let's acknowledge this mindset. Let's talk about the things of, entrepreneurs, right? Entrepreneurs or success seekers that have success. They have a different way of keep moving forward. And I'm not saying entrepreneurship is better, but successful people, can't you agree they don't quit when something doesn't work? If whatever you're good at, you didn't give up. I have a 19-month-old, right? When she was little, when she was 10 months old, she was trying to walk, 11 months old, trying to walk, 12 months old, trying to walk. Finally, right at 1 year, like the day she turned 1 year old, she started to walk, right? And she's the tiniest thing ever. I'm sorry, my mom's 4'11". I think she's going to follow my mom. She's like this big, and she's 19 months old right now. But could you imagine if she quit when she tried working out or tried walking, right? Or if we had judged her the fourth or fifth time she tried, I'm like, you're not a walker. It's time to just quit. You're never going to do it, right? But sometimes we allow that to creep into our body, and we have to say, if it's not this, there's got to be another way. I don't have the answer, but I'll find it. That's why it's great to surround yourself with people like this, because sometimes you have people in life that tell you to quit. It's why I obsessively read. It's why I'm constantly trying to learn. It's why I'm pushing you guys to be a part of something. Because the fact of the matter is, the bigger this business gets for you, the bigger the problems you're going to have. That's empowering for a Wednesday, isn't it? And I would love for you to switch your mindset to say, bring me bigger problems. I want them. Because if we solve bigger problems, we get bigger results. Isn't that true? Do we know that to be true? In your career, if you solve bigger problems than the person next to you, you have the promotion, they don't. And some people find that I just want to show up, get my paycheck, I'm good. That's not you, or you wouldn't be here. So we want to adopt a mindset that's flexible, that's growing. We want to question things, right? When something pops into our mind, we could say, wait a minute. How has that thinking been serving me? Has that pushed me forward, or has it got me just to give up on myself? It's all these subtle little things that we can add up. And what I'd say is, being a mastermind member, you got some cool stuff. If you want, listen, I love teaching on mindset. I'm not going to go any deeper on it today, but you can go back to past inner circles. You can go watch the courses that Trent has given us to be in there, with Matthew McConaughey. You could go watch the trainings from Tony. Tony's got so many trainings on mindset and powering through that it could just be reminders. Any day you're feeling a little blue, you're feeling like you can't do it, feeling overwhelmed, go jump in and go through a course. Instead of surfing online, spend 30 minutes with Tony Robbins, right? Get vibrating. This is the kind, because success isn't a 45-degree angle. I've come to realize that. It's almost like a hockey stick. It's almost straight for a while. And those of you, I see so many of you shaking your head, you know what I'm talking about. It's like, I told this story, I'm gonna share it again. I know I'm digressing a little bit. It's like we're at the coffee shop and my ADD might have kicked in. So, but I was watching my son switch from, and I shared this story just last week, my son switched from baseball, playing for 8 years, 9 years of his life, to tennis. He decided to make a switch. Never played tennis in his life, just wanted to be in a sport that relied on himself. He starts taking tennis lessons 3 days a week. I go see him 3 months in. I have to be honest, I'm like, I don't know if he's gonna do it. He can't serve, he's missing the ball, like he's not hitting top spin. 3 months in, he was flat. He was learning the fundamentals. He was learning a new group, learning a new terminology, learning new rules to a game, love, all the things that go on, how to keep score, what's in, what's out. He wasn't moving, he's about 4 months in, and he said to me, Dad, I think I made a mistake. Baseball's like second nature, because he had been doing it forever. Since he was 3 years old, he started baseball. He said, I don't know if I'm getting this tennis. And I said, Bud, can you just give it, I know it's a long time, can you give it a year? He's like, yeah, I enjoy it. I'm just not getting better. I don't think I'll be good. And I have to tell you, it's like that in business. I watched him work, nothing. And then all of a sudden, about 9 months in, this kid just exploded. Like, he exploded. I go to his practice. I'm like, who is this kid? I didn't even recognize him. He played his first tournament, got his butt whooped. By his third tournament, he won his whole bracket. But I have to tell you, just 2 months before, he would have got his clock cleaned. But he stayed with it, even through the uncomfortable of, I've been doing it, but it's still no results. I'm doing it, but I still can't serve. I'm doing it, but I went to a thing, I didn't win one thing. Good to see you, Camille Tatone. Always love having you here. Love your beautiful smile. Good to see you. And I just want to share with you the last thing in the mindset part is when you think you're not making progress, when you think it's not working for you, if you're putting in the effort, if you're putting in the reps, if you're learning something you've ever done, and you never knew what a funnel was, or a lead magnet, or you never knew how to write copy, or you never knew that you had 6 great things to teach, all of that is building. And you might not see any results for 3 months, 6 months, 8 months, and then all of a sudden, boom, there's this rocket ship takeoff, whether it's your first sale, your 10th sale, or just someone being shifted in their lives because of what you've given them. And I would just hate for you guys to miss it. The older I get, the more I realize, I don't want to use a silly sport analogy, but so many people quit on the 5-yard line. So many people go down the whole field, do all the work, and go, it's not here yet. And then they start over with something new. And they go down most of the field, and they start over. I see Michelle Drew. Sometimes we just got to take that one more step, that one more burst of energy, because we don't know when this skyrocket, when my son's serve comes into play. I'm not trying to overplay this. I got to say this. My son's serve, 3 months prior, I almost told him to quit. I mean, he'd throw it up. Who's into tennis? Anybody play tennis? Raise your hand if you played tennis. So you'll know, I see you, Fred. I see you, Jerry. My son would throw up the serve, and he would either throw it behind him or he was throwing it so far in front of him that by the time he got to it, it looked so awkward to a kid that I always thought had great coordination, good hand-eye coordination. We were 3 months before. You know, if you're a parent, do you ever have your kids do something and you just see it and you're like, it's just not your thing, but you don't want to say it to them? Literally, they're your kids, so you want to cheer them on. Literally 3 months before, I almost was like, kid, I just don't think this is your thing. I think you're right, but I just stayed steady. And 3 months later, it all clicked for him. I'm telling you, the kid, for the first time ever, 2 weeks ago, he beat me. And he beat me last week. I don't think I'll ever beat my son again. In one of the trainings that you'll see, Matthew McConaughey, we were sitting right there, we did a training, and in the middle of the training he goes, one thing you haven't experienced yet, Dean, and I have. I realize I am not the best athlete in my home anymore. And when I said this was like a year ago, Matthew and I did it, and I was like, no, that's not me. My son tries, but he's not. And God damn it, it's the first thing that came in my head when my son legitimately beat me. I'm like, I'm not the best athlete in the damn house anymore. Anyway, I digress with a little family story, a little humor, but it's all true. And I would just hate for you guys to give up when the serve still feels awkward, when you're just a month, 5 months, 5 weeks away from a beautiful shot that your opponent can't hit. And that's why I'll stick, and that's why I'll be with you every Monday, and that's why I'll be with you every month, and that's why I'll be with you inside the course, and we'll do special lives, and we'll do surprise events, because I know if you have the skill, if you have the desire, you have the education, you have Gigi, you have the tool, all it takes is me helping you get enough reps in until you see enough proof of concept to go, God darn it, this is me. So that's why I do what I do. Lastly, and I think probably the most important one, is protecting your confidence. I believe it's so important because without confidence, it's hard to do anything. And with confidence, I think confidence is one of those things that overcomes a lot of shortfalls, right? You are extremely confident in several things in your life already. Hands down. When you're in the room and you're good at this thing, people look to you for it, you don't worry about it, you don't think about it, it's second nature, you're confident in your lane. When you're not confident, should I, could I, the person said something negative, I don't think so. I did a post and there was 5 great comments, but one person said I looked weird, right? But when you have confidence, that stuff doesn't bug you. You roll right over it. So I had a mentor of mine many years ago and said, the number one you have to protect is your confidence. And I'm going blank on his name right now. Ned Hallowell was and is the world's leading ADD doctor. He was on Oprah 7, 8 times, and she called him the world's leading ADD doctor, wrote many books on it. He's a Harvard professor. He became a friend, 15 years ago. And I said, how do you help so many kids with ADD? I'm going to digress here for a minute because this is to kind of the story teach tool model I share. I'm telling you a story so I could teach you and then I'll give you a tool. Cool? So here's the story. I said, how do you get so many kids off of Ritalin and the things they use and help them live with ADD? First off, he said, ADD, it's a gift. Once you understand it's a gift, you'll love it. He said, it's just, you have a Ferrari engine with bicycle brakes. And I thought that was just a funny way to describe ADD. It's like, you go fast, you just don't know how to hit the brakes. If you know how to hit the brakes, you can go pretty damn fast with ADD, right? So I said, well, how do you do it? He said, this is the analogy he gave me. Let's take Johnny. He's in school. And he can't focus. He's trying to read, his foot's bouncing, he gets up, he's running around the class. Now he doesn't just have ADD, he has ADHD. He's hyper too. And you're trying to get him to sit, get his work, and he can't get it done. This is a story, and some of you understand this better than me. I'm just repeating his story. He said it's because he's so insecure about that thing combined with his ADD, he can't focus. So what I do is I assemble his teachers and his parents and friends if I can, and I find out what Johnny is already good at. And we help him get amazing at that. If he's good at sports, we find the sport and we empower that sport. If math is easy for him, we empower the one thing he's already good at because he has, what's the word? He said he has confidence already in that area, and we compound that confidence in one area. And he said we praise him, his teachers praise him, his parents praise him, we let him know, and we get that one thing so good that confidence trickles back down to everything else. And all of a sudden, Johnny is in his classroom reading that book. And I said, so what is the number one secret to helping? He said, I think it's the secret to everything in life. It's confidence. So how do you get confidence? Are we born with confidence? Do we manufacture confidence? Do we borrow confidence? I think it's kind of a combo. I think it's what we borrow, what we focus on, what lens we look through. So I want to give a few points that have really helped me with confidence, and we'll take this home over the next 10 minutes with confidence. You good on this one? Who's enjoying so far today, hanging out, pretending we're at a coffee shop even though we don't have coffee? All right, number one. I'm going to go through this really quick. Number one, Tony loves to say, where focus goes, energy flows. That's something he's been saying forever. And you could take so many different versions of that. But I love the version I take is, what are your consistent thoughts? If you focus on, I'm a little old for this. I'm an introvert. I'm not sure I can do this. I'm not sure I have something of value. I've tried things in the past and they didn't work. If that's where your energy goes, and that's where your focus goes, I should say, then will that drive you to take action, or will that raise your confidence or lower it? Right, Casey? I've tried this stuff before. You know, if I tell my husband I'm doing this, he's going to think I'm crazy. And what I believe is, what I'm going to share with you guys is that every one of them I'm going to share, if it only chips away at 1, 2, 3, 5% of your confidence, and then it accumulates and you get 40% of your confidence gone, can you do anything at 60% confidence? Do you get the sale? Do you take action? Do you do things you've never done? No. So we have to protect our confidence. I love this from Og Mandino. He said, when you don't have confidence, what if instead of letting your thoughts dictate your actions, what if you just took the action and let the action dictate your thoughts? Now, that sounds a little crazy, but isn't that pretty cool? It's like, I'm not sure I could do it. I'm doing it anyway. And once you're in it, you start building confidence. Confidence only comes from doing. You don't get confidence in the stands watching your best athlete play on the field. You don't go, I'm getting better at football watching. No, you got to get in the game. You got to fail. You got to get hit. You got to drop the ball. You got to fumble. That's how you get better. Here's the crazy part, what people don't realize. Confidence comes from actually being in the game, winning, losing, failing, succeeding. All of that collectively goes, hey, that wasn't that bad. Who's ever been scared about doing something? Once you did it, you go, oh, that wasn't that bad. What happened? Boom, confidence, right? So watch where your energy goes, watch where your focus goes in your thinking and catch it, because thoughts can absolutely rob our confidence. The second part of that is, why not take the action you've been afraid of? The confidence will follow. Second thing is, we have the opportunity to be the source, to be the power plant of energy, to be the power plant of joy, to be the power plant of enthusiasm. And I think that kind of goes back to, maybe our actions can dictate our emotions, right? Anybody do a morning routine or a morning walk or a morning exercise, right? Do you ever get up some mornings? I do, every morning, right? And there's some mornings I wake up. This morning was one of them. And I was like, I'm tired. I was on the East Coast for 3 weeks. My time zone's off. I went to bed too late, got up too early. My son slept with me last night, my 4-year-old, which was amazing. I'd love to say I wish he didn't. I love it. He hugged me all night, right? Got up to go to the bathroom twice, right? I didn't sleep last night. 4:45 this morning, I wake up, and I had every excuse to go, well, I'm feeling a little tired. I could just say it. And my thoughts were taking me out of the workout. And I just got up. I put my clothes on. I walked out into the gym. I started working out. Within 3 minutes, I felt amazing. And I was so grateful that I was in the gym, right? But I was a millimeter away from letting my thoughts when I just took the action. So here's the thing I want to share is, we have the opportunity to see joy before the success, don't we? We could wait till it all works and be happy, or we could be happy first. We can make that decision. We could say, I could get energy, I could be energized, I could be enthusiastic when it wins, or I could be enthusiastic until it wins. I'm not trying to oversimplify it, but we have the opportunity to see the good before it happens. And if we have that, doesn't that increase your confidence? When you have a smile on your face, do you feel better about decisions? For sure. Isn't that, not to oversimplify, but we do. I see you, Joella, right? We just do. And we get that choice. So find the things that put a smile on your face. Find the things that energize you and focus on them. John Gordon's got a great training inside Mastermind on this. So if you guys want to check it out, that's cool. So be the source, be the power plant. Create the joy and the enthusiasm because you can. This next one, I think, is one of the biggest ones, is be conscious of outside influences. This is the one that changed the game. Well, there's a couple of them, but this one changed the game big time for me. I went on a news diet for 30 days, and it lasted a decade. And I'm using that as an example. I found myself thinking, outside influences, and I started thinking of friends of mine who were like, oh, Dean, when's enough enough? Why do you work so hard? And I found the people in my life that made me feel bad about the desires and dreams I had, and I found myself kind of slowly exiting from them and finding a new circle. And when I think of outside influences, that's what I used to just think of. They call it your core five, right? You're the sum total of the 5 people you spend the most time with, right? That's easy, we know that, right? But then I started going deeper. I said, no, outside influences aren't just people. Let me ask you something. Has anybody in the last 6 months watched the news and got done and said, damn, I feel amazing. Woo! Honey, I know you missed the news at 5, but they're going to play it again at 7. You have got to watch it because we are going to have an amazing night. Not one of you have said that. But who has watched the news in the last 6 months and went, oh shit, we're in trouble. Should I even do my own thing? Should I be one of those crazy people? I just shouldn't say that, but should I be one of those, what do they call I forget the name, like, should I get solar, battery pack, food? What do you call someone when they, I see some, Casey, you said it, right? A prepper, that's right. And I'm not knocking if you're a prepper, but you see some crazy ones, right? But should I be a prepper? Is the world gonna go, is America, is the world on fire? Like, there's not one time I've watched the news and felt better, but I've surely lowered my confidence. If you're really honest, raise your hand when you watch the news, your confidence goes down. Raise your hand if your confidence goes down when you watch the news. Well, I started being the judge when I look through the lens of protecting my confidence. Just think about this. I'm not gonna you guys are all smart. I don't have to beat this up. But if you're gonna protect your confidence, then we have to stop doing the things that rob our confidence, don't we? I don't want to oversimplify, but most of us overcomplicate. Where does confidence come from? You already have it, but stop squashing it. So if we know news and your sister Betty, every time you talk to her, makes you feel bad, and you watch the news and it makes you feel bad, if we know those two things make us feel bad, then take a little diet from both of them. Right? Instead of watching the news, go grab an inner circle. Go listen to Trent Shelton. Go learn from Tony Robbins. Go learn, do something that lifts you up rather than squashes you and brings you down, which leads me into the next one. The one that got me, when I truly understood this, was like a rocket ship with rocket fuel in it for my confidence. Is I think we've been taught to work on our weaknesses, haven't we? If you're bad at something, you're bad at math, bad at spelling, aren't we taught, shouldn't we get better at it? I think that's the biggest lie we've ever been told. Some of you might disagree with me. I think if we work hard on our weaknesses, we just get okay at a lot of crap. I think we go back to what Ned Hollowell said, is I think we should work on our strengths and we should get amazing at what we're already good at. I'm not good at a lot of things. I still have dyslexia. I still have a very difficult time reading and comprehending. I can listen. I listen to a book a week, but I can't read really well. Spelling, oh my God, when I type, thank God for spell check, but sometimes I'm so bad at spelling that I'm on my 3rd try and literally spell check can't figure out what I'm trying to spell. Like if spell check can talk, they'd be like, what the hell are you trying to say here, right? Like, what are you doing? Like sometimes, and then I just go, use the word great, like, because I don't know that other one. Like, I can't even get close. I suck at a lot of things, but I've gotten really good at hopefully communicating on camera, caring about people, understanding this industry. I'm only good at a handful of things, and it's transformed my life. So when I was in school with dyslexia and I was in special reading, I remember thinking, I'll never be anything because I'm not good at reading. I'll never be anything because when I read, I can't comprehend. And the teacher, Mrs. Thompson, used to yell at me, just sound it out, like, I'm trying. If I would have taken that and said, God, I can't be successful until I'm good at all these things, I never would have been able to move forward. I got lucky enough to realize that I still am not good. I still suck at most everything, but I'm really good at a few things. So I want to give you permission to say screw it on those things that you're not good at. Let it go. Get amazing at what you're good at, and guess what? Eventually, whenever that time is, you hire someone to do the crap you don't like or you're not good at. That's where life goes. That's where businesses become real. That's how you change the world. So screw your weaknesses. Throw them out. And stop trying to get good at them. I'm going to go over. You guys okay if I go over just 5 minutes? I know I say an hour, but I'm going to go over 5 minutes. I had a small mastermind once 20 years ago, and I was going around a table, and we got to a gentleman, Tom, was 67 years old. And it was when I taught people how to do real estate, and this guy was killing it. And I go around the table, what can I help you with? It was a small enough mastermind, a hot seat with each person. It gets to Tom. He said, I'm the most disorganized person in the world, Dean. My home office is a mess. I clean my car, it becomes a mess. I don't know where receipts are, all that stuff. He goes, and this is how long ago it was. I need to go to Office Max and get a filing cabinet and label stuff and create a process. I need to be less sloppy and more organized. I said, Tom, how old are you? He said, 67. I said, can I just be honest with you? You're screwed. You're going to be sloppy and a mess and disorganized for the rest of your life. And I remember he probably looked at me like, really? I paid this guy $25,000 to ridicule me or whatever it was at the time. And I said, but Tom, you're here as one of the most successful. He was a manager of a big company and retired, and he got into real estate, and he was flipping a house a month, making like $15,000 a house. I said, Tom, you're worried because you're not organized. I said, who gives a crap? You're doing better than almost anybody at this table. You have a knack for finding deals no one else can. You negotiate with people with that smile. He had the coolest smile you ever seen. You just wanted to give this guy everything you saw. He was a sweetheart. I said, you are the best at negotiating and closing deals and get people to work for you. Screw it. Let it go. And he stopped, and I saw he got emotional. I'm like, you've been told by your teachers, your parents, and now your wife that you're sloppy. And he started to cry. He goes, my whole life. I said, let it go. Who gives a shit? Here, how about this? I said, excuse me if I swore a couple times today, but I'm in a mood. I said, what if you just flipped 1 or 2 extra houses a year in something you're good at and you continue to get great at, and hire someone to organize everything for you? And I just watched this sense of calm come over him. And what I found out later on, I never talked to him again. When I found out, he went home, told his wife what happened. She's like, I'll quit being a teacher for 30 grand a year and I'll do it all. And now they were partners and they went on to do amazing things together. He just had a different frame of mind of like, I'm going to be sloppy forever. You handle this. I'll go make the money. Game over. Permission today. Let go of it. I'm never going to read good. I'm never going to spell good, and I get to do cool stuff. The last thing I'll leave you with is the biggest sales job that you have to do in the entire world is to the person in the mirror. You got to sell yourself daily. I feel like your old life is pulling you back. The media is pulling you back. Friends that are used to you being in the old way you were are pulling you back. Family members pulling you back. A pull, like a gravitational pull, even in pulling you towards a thing that you're not 100% happy with, right? And we can let outside influences slowly steer us back, slowly strip our confidence. And like I said when I started, all of a sudden, you don't even know when you went back to the way that you weren't loving, right? Or accepting the way you are. So what I'd say is create some kind of daily habit where you sell you, whether that's your 7 levels deep and what you want to accomplish in your life, whether that's being the woman or the man you were supposed to be. I don't know if you want to read inspiring texts, meditate, pray, journal, exercise, time in nature, conversations with positive people, staying engaged, watch, whatever it takes to fill you up so each day you can go, nope, this is hard, I'm a little scared, but I'm going anyway. You have to sell you. You sell yourself, I promise we will be here as much as we possibly can to inspire you, to empower you, to give you the tools, the map, the guidance, the help we can, the technology we can to make this real. The only way this doesn't work is if you stop working it. Guys, I appreciate you so much. Thank you for being a part of this inner circle. Watch this as much as you want. Go back and do the exercises if you want. Set the intention, put the line in the sand, and together let's just crush the second half of 2024. I appreciate you all. Thanks for spending time. We'll see you soon.